Good morning, good afternoon and good evening class. This is our lecture number 6 of subject economics and chapter number 5, poverty. In last lecture, that is in lecture number 5, we have discussed about the causes of poverty, in which basically there are 5 reasons are there or causes are there of poverty. But last time we have discussed historical reasons, causes of rural poverty and social reasons. So in today we are going to cover point number 3 and point number 5, that is economic factors and other reasons. In which in economic factors there are 5 sub-points, or we can say reasons are there which belongs to economic factors, while in other reasons there is 3 different points which are considered as a causes of poverty and they are considered in a other reason. So let us start with page number 57, point number 5.4.3, that is economic factors, in which the first factor is low agricultural productivity per labor. If you are marking, then in each and every point there is more or less belongingness with agriculture is there, because in historical reason also we have focused on agriculture. In rural poverty, natural causes and demographic factor, there was also a point of agriculture. Here in economic factor also, low productivity per labor and land, this both is related to agriculture, while here also we have focused some of the points on agriculture. This is the reason why India is very poor, because basically we are belongs to agricultural sector more, or we can say India is an agricultural country. Now here, low agricultural productivity per labor means compared with other countries. Here we are focusing on those countries which are also agrarian in nature. So compared to those countries, our per labor productivity is very less, and that is why India is a poor country, or we can say we are having a large number of poverty in India. So first one is a low agricultural productivity per labor. One of important reasons of high poverty in rural India is low agricultural productivity per laborer. Here, what is agricultural productivity per labor or per laborer? It means those who are engaged in agricultural sector and their contribution in total production is very less as compared to other nations. Say for example, if in Australia per labor agricultural productivity is 1000 kilogram, but here in India the agricultural productivity per labor is only 400 kilogram. So it means we are having low agricultural productivity per labor, and this happens because of so many reasons like irrigation facilities, modern equipments, modern style of agricultural, etc. So here, because of poor irrigation facilities, because Indian agriculture is based on monsoon and time of less rainfall, we are not able to getting a very high productivity. So first one is a poor irrigation facilities, because we are not having a proper source of irrigation. Insufficient technology, because even today we are also using the traditional method of cropping. Lack of education and training, in which the people who are less educated and untrained are reluctant to change, means they are hesitate to make some changes in their methods of working, and that's why they are not adopting the modern style of agriculture. Low rate of investment, because as compared to other countries, Indian investment in agriculture sector is very lower because we do not have that much, or we can say sufficient funds to invest in agricultural sector. Heavy load of population. This might be one of the most important reason, because in India we are facing very less labor productivity because of disguised unemployment. Because here we are having more number of people engaged in agriculture than required, result in lower agricultural productivity. So these are the reasons, like poor irrigation facilities, insufficient technology, lack of education and training, low rate of investment, heavy load of population result in low agricultural productivity. So income of farmers remains low and poverty increases. Because of all these reasons, the income of farmer is very less, and that results into poverty. So it was the first point, that is low agricultural productivity per labor. Now second one is unequal distribution of land and property. From the initial years of India, or we can say from the Britishers' rule to till the day, there is a unequal distribution, or we can say imbalance between the distribution of land and property among the citizens. Because those who are zamindars at the time of Britishers are still having a large number of land under their control. But those who are landless farmers are, even today, they are not in a position to fight against this zamindari, or we can say they do not holding a large amount of land on their own ownership. Land is very important for cultivation, because we cannot cultivate anything without land. From British period in India, because of system like zamindari, land ownership was with the handful of zamindars. As we have discussed in historical reason, that Britishers has appointed some of the zamindars who are collecting tax revenue from these farmers. So these handful zamindars are forfeiting the land from all those farmers who are unable to pay tax revenue. So it results into the high level of concentration or larger amount of land with this handful zamindars. This class was not directly associated with land cultivation. They are not at all interested in land cultivation and cropping, because they are having the ownership only. The more about this point we will discuss in chapter number 8, that is in agriculture sector. So here this class was not directly associated with land cultivation and had no interest to invest in agricultural sector, because either they are investor or this land is not belongs to them. They have forfeited this land from other farmers. So they are not at all interested in any kind of investment or improvement in this agricultural land. On the other hand, there is two class of people. First one is the zamindar, who is the owner of the land, and second one is the farmer, who is the tenant, or we can say who has taken this land as a rent from the zamindar. So on the other hand, the tenants were working on others' land. Others' land means zamindar's land, and were not the owners. So they also had no interest in investment. On the one hand, zamindars are the owners of land and they have no interest in the improvement of agriculture. On the other hand, tenants are just workers of the land and they are not having enough amount or enough money for investment, and even they can't want, or they want to work on the investment in agriculture sector. Due to low agricultural production and productivity, and because of this reason, the agriculture production and productivity is very less. Poverty increased day by day, and because of this, so here due to unequal distribution of land and property, there are two class of peoples. First one is zamindars and second one is farmers. Zamindars are the owners while farmers are the tenants, and both of them are not interested in improvement of land, and that's why the unequal distribution of land and property resulted into high level of poverty. Now third point, minimal development of small and cottage industry. As we all know, at the time of independence, there is a high dependency. See, minimum and minimal is said, but here, with regards to this point, they are focusing on minimum. It means very negligible development. They are not focusing on the development of small and cottage industry. At the time of independence, large number of population is dependent on agriculture. But step by step, year by year, these people are moved towards the industrial sector. But as we all know that big or large scale industries are capital oriented industries or capital intensive industries. They do not require a large number of people for their industry. While small and cottage industry, which we will discuss on chapter number 10 in industrial sector, that small and cottage industry are providing highest number of employment to those who move forward from agriculture sector. But here, due to very less development of small and cottage industry, they are not getting full-time employment, and that result into further poverty. So third point, minimal development of small and cottage industry. In India, the second five-year plan onwards as a strategy for economic development, heavy and basic industries were given importance. Means in first five-year plan, our importance or our focus on different sectors. But from second five-year plan, by the act or deeds of Professor P.C. Mahalanobis, now we are focusing on self-sufficiency, and that's why we have focused on the industrial development along with agricultural development. So agricultural is the primary sector, while industry is the secondary sector. So in India, the second five-year plan onwards as a strategy for economic development, heavy and basic industries were given importance. Means now we are also focusing on industries which will provide employment, at the same time import substitution, where we can produce all those goods which we are importing from other countries, and it will also helpful us in getting foreign exchange. But in rural areas, what we are talking is about the urban areas where there is a concentration of industries. But in rural areas, small and cottage industries which have great contribution in employment, production and income were neglected. Even today, in rural area, majority or most of the occupation is agriculture. More than 90% population of rural area is still dependent on agriculture. And that's why it prevails a disguised unemployment, where more number of people are engaged in the same occupation than required. So, due to this, if we can focus on a small and cottage industrial development at the rural area, it will result into more employment, more production and more income to these rural people who are not getting anything else as an occupation than agriculture. But if this industry is developed at a rural area, then they will get. But the truth is that there is a very minimal or neglected development of small and cottage industry at rural area. Moreover, agricultural and allied activities like animal husbandry, dairy farming, fisheries, etc. were growing slowly, and this increased seasonal unemployment. All these points we will discuss in chapter number 6 in unemployment also. But here, agriculture is the main occupation and its allied activities is animal husbandry, dairy farming, fisheries, poultry farming, etc. But their development is not as higher as agricultural development, and its slower growth resulted into seasonal unemployment, and as a result poverty remained high because they are not able to getting employment on off season or other season. So they are not having a continuous flow of income or a continuous income generation plans. That's why it results into poverty. Hope you are getting my point. Now we are focusing on point number 3, that is rapid increase in prices. It results into inflation. There is two kind of income. First one is monetary income and second one is real income, which we have discussed in chapter number 3. Monetary income means your salary or your income from business and profession. While real income means salary or income from business and profession is stable, but due to some other factor, the price of the product is decreasing, and that result into more purchasing power. So when there is increase in purchasing power of a customer, it will result into high real income. But on the contrary, if the prices of the goods are increasing, then it will result into inflation and purchasing power will decrease. So now people are not able to purchase the same quantity of goods that they have purchased before because of the higher prices, and that result into poverty, because now you are not able to fulfill even your basic needs, then it results into poverty. Price rise seriously affects poverty because of war, which we are going to discuss in other reasons, point number 1. So because of war and drought, low national production, rapid increase in demand, increase in production cost, price of goods and services as well as edible goods rise rapidly. First reason is because of war. Whatever we are going to spend on the developmental expenditure, now we have to spend it behind the war activities, and that's why it result into lower production, so lower supply, that result into higher price. Second reason is drought. Because of drought, the raw material availability of industries is very less, and because of that we are not able to produce in a larger quantity. Low national production, as we all know, if the supply is less than demand, then there will be the higher prices. It means rapid increase in price. Then rapid increase in demand, so low production is results into lower supply, while rapid increase in demand results into higher demand. Increase in production cost, if because of some of the reasons, if production cost is increased, it means there is a cost push inflation is there. Then price of goods and service as well as edible goods. Edible goods means those goods which we are using in our day-to-day life or for our cooking purposes, rise rapidly. And remember one thing, if the rapid increase in price is in other than necessities, it means if it is in comforts and luxuries, did not hit the poverty. But if it is in edible goods, or we can say if rapid increase in prices results in necessities, then it will result into higher poverty. This reduces purchasing power of low income group, as we have discussed that if there will be increase in prices, it reduces our purchasing power. So people are not able to getting the same quantity of goods that they have purchased before because of rising in prices. It reduces standard of living, so it results into very lower standard of living, and it increases poverty, which results into higher poverty. On the other hand, now we can check the second part, or we can check the second face of the coin, that on the other hand, increasing prices benefits businessmen, traders and big farmers. This increases unequal distribution of income in the society. So due to inflation, the producers, traders and big farmers are the beneficiaries, and that results into unequal distribution of property and income. So this was the point number 4. Now fifth and last point of economic factors, that is high rate of unemployment. Because due to unemployment, the income level of a people is very low, and due to this the poverty is very high. Because if people are not able to getting employment for some of the days, then they are not able to gather anything as an income, and that will result into highest level of poverty. If we are checking the trend of post-pandemic issues, like whatever going on nowadays, that is due to COVID-19, many of the workers and day-to-day vendors are become helpless and they are not getting anything as an employment. We can see the reasons, or we can see the outcome of this unemployment in the afterward period of this pandemic. Then economy will take on an average 1.5 or 2 years for the revival from these lockdowns and from this pandemic. So that high rate of unemployment is results into high rate of poverty. In India, major part of rural India is dependent on agriculture, as we have already discussed. But agriculture is dependent on monsoon, as we all know that due to weather conditions and other factors, agriculture is not at the highest rate in India. Hence, only one crop in a year is cultivated, that is in monsoon time period only. So there exists seasonal unemployment. It means those farmers who are totally dependent on agriculture are not getting anything as a source of income after this monsoon time period, because they are not able to cultivate the land because of unavailability of water and other resources. So there exists seasonal unemployment. It means they are not getting any kind of work after this period of cultivation. High increase in population. One of the reason is that due to higher increase in population and joint family system also increases the burden on agriculture and result in disguised unemployment, which we have already discussed. In today's village life, majority, or we can say that almost 90% population is dependent on agriculture. If a father is a farmer, then his 2 or 3 sons will also engage in the same occupation. So at once, one father or one person is cultivating the whole land. But now, his 2 or 3 sons are also engaged in the same occupation, and it becomes 4 persons who are cultivating the same land. If we remove 2 or 3 persons from the same job or from the same work, then also the productivity is as it is. That is called disguised unemployment. It means if we remove some of the person from that particular work, then also there is no change in productivity. That is called disguised unemployment. And it is the truth of today's village life that majority of the population is engaged in agriculture which are not required. And it happens because of the heavy burden or increases the burden on agriculture due to population and joint family system. In rural India, lack of development of allied activities or allied industries, which we have already discussed, and responsible for high illiteracy, low mobility of labor, high rate of unemployment and poverty. So if we are checking, then in rural India, lack of development of allied industries, that is other than agricultural, or we can say the lack of development of small and cottage industries are responsible for high illiteracy. Means those who are engaged in agriculture, they are thinking that, or their thought is like that, our father is a farmer, I will also do the same job and my son will also do. So there is no need to get any kind of education. After all, we have to do the same agricultural work, and it results into higher illiteracy and ignorance towards the education, which will result into high rate of unemployment because they are not able to work in any of the other field other than this agriculture. Low mobility of labor because people will think that we are having the land in our possession from which we are getting enough for our subsistence. So they are not able to go anywhere else and do the job work, and that's why it results into low mobility of labor, high rate of unemployment and poverty. So these are the reasons which results into high rate of unemployment, and high rate of unemployment is results into high rate of poverty. So here we have completed the point number 3, that is economic factors, and now we will move towards the 5th and last point, that is other reasons, in which we are going to discuss about war, increasing defense expenditure, and some of the defective policies of the government. It is in page number 58. In other reasons, first one is a war. After independence, India fought 2 wars with neighboring countries, Pakistan and China. Even after independence and partition of India, we are continuing our fight with other neighboring countries, and we fought 2 fights. One is with Pakistan, or we can say 2 with Pakistan and 1 with China. During the war, now here we are interested in knowing the reason that how this war is results into the causes of poverty, or how the war is increasing the level of poverty in a country. So here, during the war, the limited resources of country are spent on production and import of required arms and ammunition. So all those amount or all those money that we are intended to invest for the betterment and development of the population is now invested for the arms and ammunition, which will make stronger defensive position that helps into fighting the war and winning the war. So during the war, the limited resources of country are spent on production and import of required arms and ammunition. This reduces production of basic goods and services because the government is having limited resources of money and other tools and equipments. Now due to war, we have to focus on arms and ammunition, which sacrifice the production of basic needs. During the war, to avoid scarcity of certain goods in future, now we are focusing on the second reason. First reason is that now we are focusing on arm and ammunition, which reduces the production of other basic necessity. Second reason is that during the war, to avoid scarcity of certain goods in future, people store food grains, clothes, fuel, etc. As a result, prices increase rapidly. Now, the situation of war is not restricted, or it is not in a time-bound manner. It may take 5 days, 15 days, 1 month, sometimes 3 months, sometimes 6 months. And due to war, if war is strike in a country, then it may result into emergency situation, in which there is a position of a curfew, where people are not able to go or not allowed to go outside their home and purchase anything. And considering this thing in mind, people started purchasing fuel, clothes, food grains and other necessities of life, which results into higher demand, and this higher demand results into rapid increase in prices, and this rapid increase in prices reduces the purchasing power. Because of war, the process of economic development slows down, because as we are seeing in today's era, that due to lockdown, our economic development slows down. Same thing happens in war also. Due to several wars in India, we fought several wars with other and our neighboring countries. Developmental expenditure is reduced, because now we are not able to make any kind of further investment for the development of community, and economic development remains slow, and problem of price rise takes place. And due to less economic development, price rise is the main feature, and that results into poverty, and hence poverty increases. Now the second point in other reasons is increasing defense. See, it is the expense which strikes when there is a situation of warfare. But it is the planned expenditure which we are doing or which we are going to do because to strengthen our army or to strengthen our defense system there. In future, if there is a situation of war, then we can fight this war with the proper tools and equipments. So, point number 5.4.5.2, increase in defense expenditure. Several wars made the issue of security very serious because from each and every war we are learning something, and now we are able to understand that what we have to do to strengthen our defense position. To make the security system stronger, expenses on modern missiles, fighter planes, tanks and submarines have increased rapidly. Government is purchasing this kind of modern missiles, fighter planes, tanks and submarines from other countries. Sometimes we are producing by our own, but sometimes we require to purchase from Russia, Germany, US, Japan and other countries. And their expenses is so large that last year we have purchased 101 fighter plane from Russia and it cost 44,000 crore rupees to the government. So our defense expenditure is very huge and it's very large. In the present era, to fight against terrorism, terrorism is also one kind of war, or we can say that it is the defense position where we have to fight against this terrorist. A lot of special facilities have increased expenditure on defense because to keep an eye on this terrorism and their slippery cells and their activities, we need to have a proper system where we need to have a highest level of defense expenditure. The expenditure on security is non-developmental in nature. It means it is non-developmental, which will not result into any further production, and any increase in such expenditure reduces expenditure on economic development. And if we focusing more on defense expenditure, it will reduce our expenditure on other activities which is beneficial to the population. So economic development slows down and level of poverty increases, and due to which economic development slow down, which result into higher level of poverty. And last but not least is the defective policies of the government. See, in India we are having a democratic system. So it may happen that every 5 years the ruling party will change, and it results into defective policies of a government because once one ruling party is proposing or developing any plan regarding alleviation or we can say reducing the poverty, then next term the next ruling party might not continue the same policy and they will introduce something else. That results into defective policies of the government. For rapid economic development in India, the second 5-year plan onwards, basic and heavy industries were given priority, and through rapid industrialization, high economic growth was to be achieved, and thus policy of removal of poverty and unemployment was adopted. So in first 5-year plan we are having so many objectives of poverty alleviation and unemployment reducing and this proper system of wage and income and everything. But from the second 5-year plan, basic and heavy industries were given priority because of the efforts of Professor P.C. Mahalanobis, and through rapid industrialization, due to which high economic growth was to be achieved, and thus policy of removal of poverty and unemployment was adopted. So all this policy which is introduced by government is introduced after the second 5-year plan. But this policy neglected the vast population dependent on agriculture. Here we haven't focused on agriculture. We have focused on the population. But that is not result into the proper policies for agriculture and other industries and all. And we are not able to provide the facilities as intended. But this policy neglected the vast population dependent on agriculture. Agriculture and small and cottage industries which give the employment and income to majority of population. As we have already discussed that, the first priority is agriculture, the second is small and cottage industry. But due to limited resources, we are not focusing on, or we haven't focused on agriculture and small and cottage industries very much. Developed slowly, and so was the income of the poor people. So here agriculture and small and cottage industry developed slowly, and that result into slow growth of a population's income, and that results into higher poverty. Apart from this, various schemes were introduced during planning period to reduce poverty and unemployment, but due to frequent changes in ruling government, many times they lack continuity and coordination. Sometimes it may happen, some of the government have introduced different policies for reduction of unemployment and poverty, but the next ruling government will not continue it, and it results into lack of continuity and coordination. As a result, the targeted poverty reduction could not be achieved through these schemes. So here we are concluding the full session of causes of poverty. In lecture number 5, we have discussed historical reasons, causes of rural poverty and social reasons, and in today's lecture we have covered economic factors and other reasons. Thank you very much.